Hi, good day, and today I'm going to show you how to divide a polynomial. But before we get started, I just want to run through some basics. So let's get started. Over here, I just want to show you a few of how something simple can also apply to something a little more complex. So let's start off with how we used to do long multiplication. Let's say we have 7 and we are trying to divide it by 5. Now, how would you go about this? You would say 5 into 7 is 1, and the answer you get, you will take the 1, multiply it by the number outside, the number we're dividing by. So 1 by 5 is 5. And then you would minus these two numbers. So 7 minus 5 is 2. Now 5 cannot go into 2 as 2 is smaller than 5. So we would say the answer for this sum is 1 remainder 2. Something straight out of primary school. So as simple as this concept is, when we're dividing this expression by x minus 4, we will follow the same basic rules. Okay? So let's go through some other things. Right. Suppose I had asked you to minus these two expressions. 2x minus 1, and I want you to minus 3x minus 5. Now, how would we go about this? To do this, we would have to get rid of these brackets first. But notice on the outside, there's a minus sign. So, I think we should multiply everyone in the brackets by the minus sign outside. So, minus by positive 3x, when you multiply that, you will get negative 3x, because a negative and a positive is still is a negative. And a negative by a next negative is positive. So you will get positive 5. And then what would you do? You would say 2x minus 3x is minus 1x. Then minus 1 plus 5 is positive 4. Right? Seems simple so far. So let's write this same question slightly different. I'm going to take this question and we are going to write it like this, more in a vertical form. 2x minus 1, and we are going to minus 3x minus 5. Now, it's the same exact question, except I wrote it slightly different. However, when you write it like this, it causes some slight confusion among some students. Here's the reason why. If we are minusing these two expressions, notice how much minus signs we wrote. We only wrote one minus sign. So this is what students do by mistake. We have to minus the x's, but you notice the minus sign is closer to the x's, and the numbers, the constants, are further from the minus sign. So when we are minusing, we only minus these two numbers, and we forget that this minus sign also applies to these two numbers. So here's the correct thing to do. 2x minus 3x, well, if you write it like this, 2x minus 3x will give us minus 1x. Now, we have to say not 1 enough, but minus 1. This minus sign belongs to the 1. So you might make the mistake and say minus 1 minus 5. But remember, this minus sign also applies to these two numbers. So this is what you should be seeing in your head. Minus 1. We plan to minus, so write a minus sign. And what number do we have waiting there? Minus 5. So it's minus 1 minus minus 5. When two negatives come together, you get a positive. Minus 1 plus 5 is positive 4. All right? So don't make those mistakes when we're starting this question over here. So let's go through a couple other things that we will need to do this question. Right. This may be easy, but I'm just saying it just in case. If we have 4x cubed and we divide it by 2x, obviously 2 will go into 4 2 times, and x cubed, and we have 1x here. X will cancel out with one of these x's to give x squared. So our answer here will be 2x squared. Also, if we have 3x squared and we divide it by x, x will cancel with one of these x's to give us 3x. Just one more example before we get started. If we have 5x divided by x, this x will cancel out with this x to give us 5. I know it seems pretty basic, but I'm just covering these things just in case. Alright, so that's one more thing I have to show you. Right? You should already be familiar with quadratics. Over here on top, I have a quadratic equation. Now, how do I know it's a quadratic equation? There's an x squared, an x, and something without an x. Below here, I do not have a quadratic. I have an x cubed, an x squared, and an x and something without an x. Because of the x cubed, I cannot call this a quadratic. Both of these are polynomials. In the top one, the highest power in this polynomial is 2. Below, in this polynomial, the highest power is 3. Now, just to make the conversation or the video a little bit simpler, I'll be calling anything with the x squared and x a quadratic. If it has a cube in it, I'll be calling it a cubedratic. Please note that's not the real name for this expression. I'm just calling it a cubedratic because it has a cube in it. That's all. Alright, so let me show you now how to divide this expression by x minus 4. It's very, very similar to the case where we were dividing 7 by 5. So let's get started. So here's what we're going to do. Make sure you pay attention to the x, not the 4 at the moment. We're not paying attention to the 4. And what we're going to do, we're going to take the 3x cubed and divide it by 3. So I'm just going to do this work in here below on scrap. I'm going to take 3x cubed and divide it by x. Now, from what I previously showed you, the x will cancel out with this squared to give, well, the cube, sorry, to give you x squared. So over here, we will get 3x squared. 3x cubed divided by x gives us 3x squared. Now remember what we have to do? We have to take this answer and multiply it by this entire expression here. Now, when we're multiplying it by this expression, you notice we have 2 items. And I know what you're thinking. The answer is yes. We have to multiply both of them by 3x squared. So let's go. 3x squared by x is 3x cubed. And 3x squared by minus 4 is minus 12x squared. Right. Now, remember what we need to do. We need to minus these 2 items here. So when we are minusing it, most likely you will just put one minus sign. But remember, this minus sign applies to him and it also applies to him. And one more thing, it's just something I just don't like to see. You see how this x cubed has a number in front of it? You notice this x squared doesn't have a number in front of it. So the number is automatically 1. I prefer if you physically write in a 1 rather than imagine the 1. And similarly here, minus x, I don't see a number, so I'm just going to put the 1. So let's minus now. Let's minus these 2 items. 3x cubed minus a next 3x cubed will give us 0. You are supposed to get 0 here. If you get 0 here, that means you're on the right track. I'm not going to bother to write the 0. Let's do the other one now. Minus x squared, I'm going to do the scrap work in here. Minus x squared minus 1x squared, sorry, minus 12x squared will give me how much? Minus 13x squared. And this is wrong. I just made a mistake I warned you all about. Remember, it's minus 1x squared. We have to minus, this minus sign applies to these two guys as well. So it's supposed to be minus x squared minus, and what we have waiting here, another minus. So two negatives will come together to give you what? A positive. So you get positive 12x squared here. So minus 1x squared plus 12x squared is 11x squared. So below here, I will get positive 11x squared. So you have to be careful about this minus sign here. All right. So below here, we end up with 11x squared. This number now will drop downwards and join the party. So minus 1x. We have two items here. So we're going to repeat what we started with. So we're going to divide 11x squared by x. 11x squared divided by x. Remember, this will cancel out with this to give us 11x. So 11x squared divided by x is positive 11x. The 11x, the answer we just got, we have to multiply it by these two guys here. 11x by x is 11x squared, and 11x by minus 4, remember it's minus 4, is minus 44x. All right. So what do we have to do with these two guys now? We actually have to minus it once again. But remember, this minus sign applies to him and him. So let's see. If we're doing everything correct, both of when we minus this, we will get a 0 here. So let's see if we actually get the 0. 11x squared minus 11x squared is 0. I'm on the right track. I'm not going to write the 0. Let's do this one now. And I'm not going to forget the minus sign applies to both of them. So minus 1x minus 44x. Notice again, two negatives come together to give you a positive. Now, I know in both examples, in both sets of working coming down, you saw that two negatives come together to give you a positive. Two negatives will not always come together. It just happened to come together in this particular question. So don't assume that you're always going to get a positive here. You have to reason it out. So minus 1x plus 44x is positive 43x. So over here, I get positive 43x. I guess I don't really have to write the positive because it's understood to be positive. And who drops down to join the party now? Minus 1. So let's finish this up. The 43x gets divided by x. Now 43x divided by x will give us positive 43. Right? Just in case you don't believe me, 43x divided by x, the x and the x will cancel out to give you 43. Take the 43 now, the answer we just got, and multiply by x. 43 by x is 43x, and 43 by minus 4, I need my calculator for that one. 43 multiplied by minus 4 is minus 172, it seems. All right. So now we have to minus these two answers, and I'm going to put the minus sign here. When you minus these two, we get 0. So we know we're on the right track. So minus these two, we get 0. Not going to put it. Let's minus these two guys, and don't forget the minus sign here. minus 1 minus 172. A lot of two negatives are coming together to give you a positive in this particular question. Minus 1 plus 172 is 171. So I end up with 171 and I have nothing else to bring down. When we divide this expression by this, we got this, and this is our remainder. It's very similar to this question. See if you can make the comparison. 7 and the 5. 7 gets divided by 5, we get 1, and remember the remainder was 2. This one is this answer on top. The 5 is what we're dividing by, so the x minus 4 is what we're dividing by, and our remainder is 2. Similarly here, our remainder is 171. So this is how you divide a quadratic by x minus 4. And you notice something. Whenever you take a number and divide it by a next number, in this case here we got 1. 1 is a much simpler number than 7. So when you divide something by something, you get a simpler number. Something very similar happened here. When we took a quadratic and divided it by x minus 4, we got a quadratic. A quadratic only has x squared, but a quadratic has x cubed. So when we divide something complex, we got something slightly simpler, because a quadratic is simpler than a quadratic. All right, so let's see if we can try another example, something a little more complex. Instead of having just plain old x here, let's put a number in front here and let's see how that changes the calculation. Now believe me, it won't change that much. So let's give me a few seconds just to erase everything here. All right. Let's see. Let's have another example over here. All right. So we are going to try 2x cubed minus x squared plus 4x plus 2. All right. And we are going to be dividing it by 2x plus 1. So this time we don't have x, we have a number in front of the x. It just makes the question slightly more difficult, don't get too worried. So let's get started. So we have a quadratic and we're dividing it by 2x plus 1. All right, so let's see what's going to go on here. 2x cubed divided by 2x. So we have 2x cubed and we're dividing it by 2x. 2 and the 2 cancel out, x divided by x squared. So over here we're going to get x squared. Oh, one thing, something I just don't like to see. Notice there's a number in front of the x cube. Over here there's no number, so let's put in the 1. Let's write the square a little bit neater. All right, so what do we have to do with this answer now? We have to take that answer and multiply by the 2 items here. So let's see. X squared by 2x is 2x cubed, because x and x squared is x cubed. X squared by 1, well, anything multiplied by 1 is itself. What do we have to do with these 2 items? We have to minus it. Remember, the minus sign applies to him and him. 2x cubed minus 2x cubed is 0, so I'm on the right track. Minus 1x squared, that's him, minus positive x squared. Remember, a positive, when a negative touches a positive, we get a negative. And x squared is the same thing as 1x squared. I really get in the habit of putting a number 1 if there's no number in front of the letter. Minus 1x squared minus a next 1x squared is minus 2x 4x squared. We need another number here, so the 4x comes down and joins the party. All right, so let's see. Let's divide him by him. So minus 2x squared gets divided by the 2x. 2 and the 2 will give you a 1 there, x. So yeah, you just get x. So you will get minus 1x, sorry. Minus 1, sorry, x, I made a mistake. Minus 1x. You're going to take the minus 1x and multiply both of them here. Minus 1x by 2x is minus 2x squared. And minus 1x by 1, when you multiply anything by itself, by 1 you get back itself. What do we have to do here now? We have to minus these two things here. Once again, this minus sign applies to both items. Minus 2x minus 2x squared, but that's easy. Minus 2x squared minus 2x squared. Two negatives give you a positive. You will get 0. So I'm on the right track. Let's try the other one. 4x minus 1x. Two negatives come together. 4 plus 1 is 5x. So by now you should be getting the hang of this calculation. Let's bring down Mr. 2 here. Positive 2. And we're going to repeat this procedure. We're going to get a decimal here, because we have to take the 5x and divide it by the 2x. Nothing is wrong with decimals. 5x divided by 2x. The x's cancel out. 5 divided by 2 is, in this case, positive 2.5. Nothing is wrong with decimals. The answer we get, we have to multiply both of them. 2.5 by 2x is 5x, and 2.5 by 1 is 2.5. We have to minus now. 5x minus 5x is 0. I'm not going to bother to write it. I'm on the right track. And 2 minus positive 2.5. So we end up with 2 minus 2.5, because a negative and a positive is a negative. You will get negative 0.5. Right? So when we divide this quadratic by 2x plus 1, we get this quadratic, and this is our remainder here. Our remainder, I'll just put R for remainder, is minus 0.5 or minus a half. All right, let's do one more example. I think we have time to do 3 examples today. Let's go. Oh, this video is pretty long. Hope you all popped popcorn. All right. Let's try one more. A slight trick question. I always like to put a trick question in my videos. All right, let's see if I can find this trick question somewhere around. I wrote it somewhere. All right, look at here. Okay, we are going to divide 2x cubed minus x squared minus 1 by x plus 2. Now here's the problem with this question. There's an x cubed. There is an x squared. After an x squared, there should be a regular x and then a number without any x's. So it's a gradual increments of the powers. Notice x cubed, x squared, but no x's. Do not attempt to divide this if one of the powers is missing. And it has to be a gradual increase or decrease. 3, 2, 1, and then 0. So here's what you need to do. Erase that. Put minus 0x. And then put back the minus 1. Okay? Right. This procedure will not work unless you have an x here. And since there is no x, we call it 0x. Let's put a positive 0x. Doesn't matter if it's positive 0x or negative 0x. I prefer to see the positive. So let's see if we can do this one. Speed it up. You can pause the video and see if you can get it all before me, or you could just watch the video. Anything that makes you happy. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to do this one quickly because I think you have the idea of the procedure. 2x cubed divided by x is 2x squared. Take the 2x squared, multiply both of them. 2x squared by x is 2x cubed, because x squared by x is x cubed. 2x squared multiplied by 2x is positive 4x squared. Right? Minus both of them. 2x cubed minus our next 2x cubed is 0. Not going to bother to write it. This is really 1. Minus 1x squared minus a minus and a positive is a minus. Minus 1 minus 4 is minus 5x squared. The 0x drops down and joins the party. Repeat the procedure. Minus 5x squared divided by normal x is minus 5x. Minus 5x, the answer we just got, we have to multiply both of them. Minus 5x by x is minus 5x squared. Minus 5x by 2 is minus 10x. What do we need to do with both of these things? We need to minus them. Minus 5x squared minus minus. Two negatives make a positive, so we get 0 on the right track. We have 0x minus 10x. Two negatives happen to touch, you get a positive. So we get positive 10x. I'm not going to bother to write the positive. Who drops down to join the party? Minus 1. So 10x divided by x is just 10. We're going to take the 10 and multiply it by the x, so we get 10x, and 10 by 2 is 20. Minus them. 10x minus 10x is 0. Minus 1 minus and a positive is a minus, so it's minus 1 minus positive 20. Minus 1 minus 20 is minus 21. And that's our remainder for this question. Okay? So when we divide this quadratic by x plus 2, we get this quadratic, but we get a remainder, which is minus 21. All right? All right. So there is actually a shorter way to get the remainder, and I'll be discussing that in my next video. But how it's a shortcut, there's always a disadvantage of using the shortcut. So in my next video, I will show you the shortcut and we'll discuss the disadvantage of it. So I hope you enjoyed this video, right? And of course, don't forget to do a few things I have to ask. Okay? Don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and of course, please leave comments. And if by chance you're from Trinidad and Tobago and you need extra lessons in any subject, you can always call me at this number, 712-2652. And if you want a full list of all my videos, it's 100% free. You don't even have to sign up. You just have to go to this website, click on free maths videos or free and maths videos, depending on what you're looking for. And then when you click on these links, just scroll down and you'll see all the videos laid out in a neat order. And like I said, it's 100% free and there's no sign up procedure. So thank you and stay tuned for my next video.